also the symbolism that you said about this religion is related with the moon. The symbol is a moon with a star, if I can remember, and and the sun is lacking, you know. So even in all traditions, I posted just I think that yesterday from a song, an alchemical image of the sun and the moon taking hands. What I am trying to say is in all traditions the importance of the balance between sun and the moon. Even the book of Zohar speaks that in the Olam Haba, the sun and the moon will be at the same size, let's say. Of course, this is symbolic, but it but this can get quite deep. I think it yes.
It is interesting because this is the how do you say, the mark, or how do you say, omen, to live the duality or to live Egypt. This is Moses gives them the counting or the relation to time or to nature. Have to be aligned with nature. This is why he says this month, yes, החודש הזה ראשון הוא לכם. It is the first for you, Nisan, April. It is ראשון הוא לכם לחודשי השנה. It is first for you to months, all months of the year. You start with spring, there's time, and the timer comes, and in a way, living duality or align with what there is. Align with what there is, or being with what is living the duality or living the narration. But it's interesting because both in, let's say, South Hemisphere, South America or Australia, the people brought the narration regardless of the seasons of the year. Good afternoon, Abigail. We're very happy to see you here. Do you have any question, or would you like to share something, Fernando, Cindy, Abigail?
It, just to share one more thing about this, and I think that what you brought is quite impressive about the idea about narration. And I was reading a book that was like a chemical book, this carnival, during this carnival, that is about the marriage between among sun and the moon. And it is a process. It is just 20 images, 20 images that portray this process of marriage of the sun and the moon. And the last stage, the last three images, is called unus mundus, like the unity of all, that it does not exist a duality anymore. It is like there is only what it is, only the simple being. And I found it beautiful because we are speaking for some time about this unity, about this sense of unity, about this non-dualism. And I found beautiful that in alchemy, like the old people that was uh, illustrating this process of this non-duality, uh, put it as a process, portrayed it as a process, and the images are quite beautiful. I can I can share it later, but I found interesting that it is a process, you know. Uh, I don't know what do you think about this, like, or it's simple it is. Just bring in what I was reading and thinking, and I do not have any conclusions about it. It's just sharing it.
So much. So much. It is beautiful. It what to leave behind. When did you? This is like a book which is translated from the Middle Ages, Fernando, or that recently was written.
No, it is Middle Ages. Doesn't have an author, but what I read was like an article about it. So of course, the author that is Murray Stein, the author that I was reading, broke down the ideas and make it easy to understand.
Yeah, it is beautiful because we seem to carry a lot of narration around ourselves without even knowing or noticing. And in a way, it's a source of a lot of trouble and how do you say, heaviness and sorrow. But this narration does not really exist. And springtime is the time in which there's how do you say, the shell of the eggs just breaks and there's like new life popping out outside, so to speak, the narration. This is why the freedom or liberty is being celebrated in the spring. Not just spring as a season, but every moment that we inhale is a new moment. It is only the brain that connects, so to speak, the pictures that we see and connects them into a story, into narration. But the truth is that there's a new creation every moment. And this is a great liberty. Even if we hear those sentences once in a day, half a minute, we are open to those hearings, it's a great relief. Beautiful. Beautiful. There's so much suffering, unnecessary suffering from that is being caused from those stories that we tell ourselves. It doesn't happen because we choose. There's no free will in it at all. This is what makes life here even possible, that everything in a way is running on automatic pilot. But the brain always takes over and says, this is my story, this is my narration, while in real reality, it just happens. And it is programmed to be like that. Are there any questions that you would like to ask Cindy, Abigail? Please feel free. Abigail, you asked last session about Sarah is barren, or the notion or the term of empty eyes, or a beautiful maiden that has no eyes. Would you like to ask about this? Did you understand it? Shall I repeat this? This is a great riddle in the book of Zohar. People are trying, or were trying, to open this riddle for many years with logic, but it has nothing to do with logic, because it's not from here. So the riddle, or this the text, yes, it is written here and we read it, but the way we speak about the text is not from here. This is one when people are reading the book of Zohar, or specifically this part of the Zohar, Parashat Mishpatim, Sabbath Mishpatim, grandpa laws, if we translate it lightly to English, you read and reread and get nothing from it because you can't put your head around it, because it doesn't have any logic. You cannot follow the logic of it because it doesn't have any logic. So the best way is to put the logic aside and to slowly go into, like you say, musical notes. Like the brain, there's like different waves inside. Like you move to another channel, not sentences, not speech. You move to another channel, and from there we can access the riddle and access non-duality, because we cannot access non-duality from duality. Like they say something very beautiful in Hebrew about it. They say, I will say the Hebrew and then I will translate it into English. There's a saying, En asir motzi atzmo mibet ha'asurim, meaning prison. How do you say? The one who is prisoned. Yes, we say prisoner in English. I hope this is the right English term. The one who sits in prison is a prisoner. Yes. So no prisoner can take himself out from jail. What does it mean? No prisoner can take himself out from prison. What does it mean? It means that self cannot get out of self. Again, the narrator, in other words, cannot get out of the narration. So the only way is what? To negate this narration. So therefore, Ha'asir, the prisoner cannot get out of prison by himself. Yes, yes. So, as a narrator, the self cannot get out of self, cannot get out of this narration, because the narrator is always what? Has a name, has an address, so to speak, place of birth, date of birth, parents' names, and few details that makes him, so to speak, the narrator. And then there's a bondage between the narrator and the narration. And the narrator, which is a prisoner, cannot get out of the prison called narration. So the only way to go out is, in a way, another component that comes and opens the door, or say, and this is what the riddle of the book of Zohar is trying to say to us. There is no narrator and there is no narration. This is why all of us are free. This is what the Saba Mishpatim, Zohar Mishpatim is about. But in order to get into those mild waves, sane waves, they have to come with a riddle, which the access to the riddle, again, is not logic, because the riddle does not exist. It does not come from space and time, and you cannot access the riddle from logic perspective, because as many hours you can sit with the text, you will never go into it, because it's not from here. So, who is a maiden that has no eyes? Yes, this is what is written here. I'll try to read it again. It's about us basically, and this is in a way very relieving text. One second. Beautiful maiden who has no eyes. This is the riddle. Yes. What? Yes. So who is a beautiful maiden who has no eyes, whose body is both hidden and revealed, who appears in the morning and is concealed by the day's ends, who adorns herself with ornaments that are not? Yes, this is the riddle from the book of Zohar. Seemingly, and this is only the riddle. What the text that proceeds before this riddle is about sages who are walking at night next to the tower of the city of Tyre, so in Lebanon. And in the beginning, people think about maiden as a physical figure, like a young lady. And what is it? What do you mean she doesn't have eyes? But slowly, during the conversation between the three men, we find out that they don't speak about a lady or a young woman, but they speak about something which is not from here. And this is a maiden who has no eyes. And this is how they speak about life. They speak, so to speak, in terms which are seemingly familiar to us, like maiden and eyes and ornaments. Ornament? Yes. But they speak about something else. In a way, the only way to speak about life is by negating it. Negating, because all streams, let's say, or of theories, religions, they try to offer a long history, concepts, all kinds of concepts that will conceive life or describe life. Through all history came different schools, theories, religions, partially sciences that are trying to explain or conceive life. And this riddle from the book of Zohar tells us something very simple. You cannot, no one, no school, no escola, no stream of thinking can capture or can conceive life. And the only way to access it is to negate those concepts. This is why the riddle says that adorns itself with ornaments that are not, because those ornaments are different askolot, meaning different schools of thoughts that are trying, so to speak, to speak in the behalf of philosophy or the great wisdom, but whatever they do or whatever they manage to access is only an ornament, is little jewelry. Yes, but this little jewelry is really not, does not capture any of life. This is why she adorns herself with ornaments that are not. The only way to access it is to negate it. Questions, Fernando, Cindy, Abigail? Because what happens is people get stuck. They want to get out of the jail, so to speak, or from the story, but they keep holding. Just an example soon. They just keeping holding their habits because they don't, in their mind, did not yet figure out a new way to live life. Because they think, people usually think that I have to make my life. It's my own making. So people are afraid to leave, to let go. And it brings a lot of heaviness. Just yesterday there was like text in which people ask, is it all families are this functioning in Israel? Or someone said this is his impression, because when people don't find, and it's quite natural, they don't find any resonance in families, they still keep going and visiting and absorbing all kinds of weird behaviors just because they cannot quit this idea of a notion of a family. And they it doesn't fit them. People don't relate nicely. They should not even, because there is in a way a mystery in all of this. Why people even expect? This is an open question. Why even people expect or assume that a family, any kind of family, is a perfect form to live life or a structure? Why is there assumption? This is an open question. Why everybody presumes or assumes that family supposed to answer and gives, let's say, cover to all needs? Why is there? This is the first fundamental question that we're going to ask today. Why is that so? And of course, and family is not built to give answering or covering for everybody's needs. And when it does not, because it's not built like this, just built to start up life, to get going. But there's a great expectations from families. Why is that so? Because there is a great expectations from what we know to supply us with what we don't. This is a tricky point in our lives. Again, everybody's looking, like they say. Yes, everybody's looking in their families, which they know, so to speak, to supply them of of which or what they don't know. And this is a catch-22. Yes, Fernando, would you like to read the question that Cindy is asking, or Cindy would like to read it? Can you unmute and read it? Abigail, who would like to read this question? Yes? Yes, Fernando, please.
I can read it. Okay,
Yes,
so
thank you.
Cindy is asking, my son is preparing for a debate in school. The topic is on whether or not to legalize marijuana, cannabis. The number of people using substances like marijuana, but also other addictive, brain-altering substances is quite high. We were pondering about why people cannot find joy in life. They are miserable and try to escape. What do you think?
is beautiful as it is. Thank you, Fernando. Life is beautiful as it is. I was living a few years in Europe, and this is interesting because Europe is part of the Western world, and in a way, there are no challenges there. Everything, people live in very deep complacency. Those are very rich societies. And what I find interesting is the number of people using all kinds of what you say, marijuana, cannabis is amazing, amazing, amazing. Because there's a need to shut down this narration all the time, to shut down this intensive activity, mechanical activity. Here, in a way, it's a bit different because the life is happening in the moment. There's all the time threats, not just threats. It's just there's a tense because you never know what is gonna happen. Though there is like a pluralistic, I would say here sometimes, and it's not sometimes. It's open society and with Western, let's say, features. There is no complacency here. And the number of users is not that high. But I found it really, how do you say, surprising to find what is happening in Europe in terms of cannabis users. There's also, since it's Western society, people live single. They don't have so much relations to others. It's in a way, how do you say? It's a cage. It's a protecting cage from life. But this is how people live. I saw the dealers in the park and how do you say, illegal, how do you say, people with no passports that are trading. I saw this. And the number of people using is high. Yes. It's a form of protection. It is a form of protection. It's like to live in the family and not to go to life. The family will provide more or less with the basic necessity, but there's no real contact with life. So it's another form. It's like addiction to family, or addiction to, it's the same. It's just you replace jail in jail. What you do, what there is. And to go to debate about it is also another jail. The only way to speak about this is to negate it. Schools are not needed, I guess. Yes, Fernando.
I feel for the sons, for Cindy sons, because
Yeah.
it is not easy to enter in this battle, but
Mm.
as a as I have to work as a lawyer,
Mm.
I was thinking here like if was my son or how could you approach this, but it is so difficult because well we have science that speaks that you do not have to use you must not use cannabis at least if you are under 23 years old because your brain is not yet developed and you may have some people have side effects as psychosis and problems with development of the brain.
Mhm.
But this is okay. So you have this argument. But the other argument is like why state has to impose what we need to do or not. So you
Mhm.
go deeper, you go a step deeper and start to think, really, why? Why does we need somebody to say what is right and what is wrong? So what I am just trying to say is that debate is not a fair thing because you need to choose a side. It is not a conversation, it is
Yes,
not a fair
yes,
conversation. You need to
yes.
choose your side and you need to go like a dog uh, behind your stake. This is the strong argument that I have, so I have to beat my opponent. So I feel sorry for the debate because to converse about things, I think that is great. Even to chat about cannabis, I do not see a problem about speaking about these things. If you are uh, talking with a person, a real person, because it is just a conversation. But a debate is not an easy. So good luck to your son, Sydney.
Yeah. It's a setup, Fernando, from the beginning.
They put you on
Doesn't
a cage already. You are a
Yes,
gladiator.
yes,
Go.
but oh yeah, already in the lion's den, it's already there. So yeah, mm. You can only look at it as a joke. He can take it as a joke from one side. He can take it as a joke, not be serious about it. From one side, da-da-da-da-dum. From the other side, da-da-da-dum. Da-da-da-da-dum. From the third side, he can come with the guitar and play a song about it. And this was going to be fun. Don't relate to it frontally. This is what people are up for blood to supply with something else completely above their head. Yes. Yeah. It's ridiculous because this, and this is because this is the reason that people feel that they, in a way, how do you say, miss life or they don't touch life because there's always, so to speak, school or system of thinking that tries to present itself as the absolute, and people think, okay, this is how it goes. If only I will register to yoga sessions, yes, I will experience life. This is what people think. So they register to yoga sessions. 1 year, nothing happens, just practicing breathing. And then they think, only if I will go to a Vipassana, let's say, retreat, I will have it. And they go for another year and so on. But it's not like this. People think if only they hook themselves better, if they make themselves more beautiful, more appealing. It doesn't work like this because being is being. There is no conditional in being. This is what there is, and it's complete. But there is a great rejection in accepting what there is. Because the tendency of the brain is duality, is to be above things or beneath things. In control, as a winner, so to speak, or with no control as a loser. This is how it goes. Only in conversation you have a different dimension. Like this is a round dimension. Everybody says or asks or share whatever comes in the moment. There is no need to arrive somewhere because we're not far from anywhere. Life is not there to arrive. It's different. In a way, everybody is being educated to go out there, to be a winner, to run faster. How do you say? To act more out. Everybody is in a way conditioned from the beginning. And what if there is no conditioning? And this is freedom. Freedom from conditions. Do you hear, Fernando? Can you hear?
Yes, it. Yes,
Yes.
I can. I was typing that if you are in a process of becoming, means
Yes.
that you are not simple being yet. You're not being yet. So you're always putting on the becoming and
Yes.
not about being.
Yes. Just give you an example. In the Corona times, I was participating in there was like yoga lessons or how do you say online yoga lessons from Holland. And the teacher is like a natural born in Holland and a very, very tall lady. And there were like questions and answer, like a day in the week, and people ask questions and so from all over the world. And people ask her, she was very tall, and ask her what does she eat every day to have this appearance. Like, and she opened the refrigerator and she said that she does like mix of vegetables or fruit or blender and whatever. And they just thought that even if she will open the refrigerator or she will blend enough fruit and vegetables and show them what she drinks or eats, they will also be tall like her. She's very, very tall. They don't understand, and this is what people think, that if they watch someone and they do the same exercise, they will become taller. But it's so nonsense, because this lady, regardless of like being a yoga teacher, the fact that she appears here, there in the history, so many, let's say, merges between certain people that delivered such a lady. She's genetically tall and thin. And it doesn't matter what she eats for breakfast, if it's a banana or clementina or kiwi, it does not the thing that causes or makes her tall. It is so funny because people think if she eats a banana blend with avocado and she is tall, they also be tall. But it is just, you see, like Fernando said, becoming. They cannot become someone else. This is what there is. This is what there is, and people are refusing, first of all, how do you say, to accept what there is. They always want to become somebody or something else. Let's say a tiger does not want to be a dove. It doesn't have this problem. The tiger is a tiger. The cat is a cat. The cat does not dress herself as a butterfly. The cat is a cat. But people, they always look somewhere else, yes, and they want to be. And I look at this, what? Where are we? Where are we? Did people ask someone what he eats for breakfast and they will have the key to be taller than 40 centimeters above their current height? People are being born to conditions. And the conditions are previously set. It is calculated, not from here, we're not historical figures, but the conditions that are coming are already set. The only free way or the only free moment is not try to become someone or something that we're not. Just not to play this game. Like Cindy's son is like being, let's say, he has to play in brackets this game of debating, so he can take it easy, just an option. Questions? And who makes those conditions? The brain. Fernando just shared with us because there was like a suggestion maybe to use cannabis, but not before 23 because at the 23 the brain is not yet developed or so. So why there's so much concerns about the brain and development of the brain? So what kind of an argument is it if it's about the brain? You see?
Yeah, it is a dog chasing its own tail,
Yes. Yeah.
because you never get to the end.
Yes.
So this, and I think that is quite wise to this idea that the simple being, because the simple being needs to be present, needs to be sober, needs to relate in truth, So it doesn't have an argument. You do not need an argument, a potent argument to win a battle, It doesn't. It is. It goes right to the fundamental. So you win the brain, not entering in the game.
That's correct. That's correct. There's a tendency to go into argument, and the argument is always against something like an entity, an idea. But if there's being is just being empty, there is can host anything because it's empty. It doesn't have to negate, to go against it. There's an empty seat, so everyone can sit next to. Yes, Cindy? Yes. Yes, I saw this too. Yes. Yes. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Yes. There is no need to cleave to anything. Because we just, all of us are moving on emptiness. Yes. This is the basic of life, is emptiness. So, dears, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being with us today. Wishing you beautiful weekend, Shabbat Shalom, and see you soon on Saturday. Toda v'shalom.
Toda Eti, Cindy, and Abigail. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Etisha, and see you on Shabbat. Thank you.
See you then. Shabbat Shalom.